Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown and AEW Rampage review. Smackdown tonight was from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, while Rampage was taped from the Curtis Culwell Center in Garland, Texas. And Smackdown tonight, I thought it was a very good show. Really enjoyed Smackdown tonight. It was a very focused show. Man, watching Smackdown at 2 hours is a much, much better show than Monday Night Raw. It's easy to watch Smackdown with those 2 hours. But tonight on Smackdown, we had the Women's Tag Team Championship on the line, where Dakota Kai and Io Sky defend the titles against Liv Morgan and Tegan Knox. The Intercontinental Championship was on the line, where Gunther defended the title against Ricochet. We also had Hit Row versus the Viking Raiders and Legado del Fantasma. We also saw Uncle Howdy making his debut in the arena, which Uncle Howdy is not Bray Wyatt. So we got our answer as to is Uncle Howdy Bray Wyatt? No, he's not. Because a lot of people were speculating, oh, well, Uncle Howdy, maybe it's Bray Wyatt in, makeup. But we got our answer tonight. Uncle Howdy is not Bray Wyatt. And then we saw John Cena make an appearance tonight. He wasn't in the Allstate Arena, but he made an appearance on the Titantron. He ended up announcing that he's going to be Kevin Owens' tag team partner, where him and Kevin Owens are going to face Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns on the final Smackdown of the year, which is the December 30th show in Florida, in Tampa, Florida. So we had that announced tonight. But overall, Smackdown was a very good show. Really enjoyed it. But anyways, let's jump right into the review as I crack open some Mellow Yellow. Refreshing. So Smackdown opened up tonight with a black SUV coming into the arena. And inside the SUV was Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was wearing a blazer and his beard was trimmed. So Jimmy ended up welcoming Jey and Sami to the arena because the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns made his return tonight. So pretty much that was basically that. And then we had the first match of the night, which was Dakota Kai and Io Sky versus Liv Morgan and Tegan Knox for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Whose idea was this to start off the show tonight? But the match was okay, in my opinion. So Liv Morgan and Dakota Kai started off the match. Liv Morgan delivered a drop kick to Dakota Kai. She ended up getting Dakota in the corner. Tegan Knox ended up tagging in. So Liv and Tegan ended up double teaming on Dakota Kai. And Liv Morgan and Tegan Knox, I thought they made a good tag team here. So we had Tegan Knox end up sending Dakota Kai into the ropes. She delivered an elbow to Dakota. So Tegan Knox ended up running the ropes. Dakota came back, delivered a kick to Tegan Knox's face. Io Sky ended up tagging in. She delivered a double axe handle onto Tegan Knox. So she ended up going for the arm bar. Tegan Knox reversed that into an arm bar on Io Sky. So Tegan Knox slammed Io Sky down to the mat. Liv Morgan tagged in. And both Liv and Tegan Knox end up hitting Io Sky with a double suplex. So Liv ended up going for the cover. Io Sky ended up kicking out. Liv delivered a snapmare on Io Sky. So Liv Morgan run the ropes. Dakota Kai end up kicking her in the back. So Dakota Kai was on the outside of the ring, and she went under the ropes. Liv Morgan ended up following her, and Liv ended up grabbing a kendo stick from under the ring. So Liv ended up chasing Dakota Kai into the ring. Tegan Knox ended up stopping Liv Morgan from hitting Dakota Kai with the kendo stick, because, of course, if Liv ended up hitting the kendo stick at Dakota Kai, it would have caused a disqualification. So yeah, Liv Morgan and Tegan Knox end up double teaming on Dakota Kai and Io Sky. They end up throwing them to the outside of the ring. Liv Morgan ended up going for the baseball slide. Dakota ended up moving out of the way. So Liv Morgan ended up distracting Io Sky and Dakota Kai on the outside. Tegan Knox went up to the top. She delivered a splash off the top rope onto Dakota Kai and Io Sky on the outside, which was cool. So then as SmackDown came back from the commercial, we had Dakota Kai and Io Sky end up in control of the match. They end up double teaming on Tegan Knox in the ring. Io ended up getting Knox in a waistlock. Dakota Kai ended up getting out of it, and she ended up hitting her with a headbutt. So we had Liv and Dakota Kai. They were in the ring. Liv delivered a drop kick off the second rope to Dakota Kai. Liv ended up knocking Io Sky off the ring apron. Dakota ended up hitting Liv in the face with a kick. Io ended up tagging in. Her and Dakota Kai ended up placing Liv Morgan on the top rope. They ended up lifting her up, slamming her down onto the mat. Io ended up going for the cover. Tegan Knox broke up the pin. Dakota Kai knocked Tegan Knox down. Liv ended up throwing Dakota Kai out of the ring. Liv delivered a codebreaker onto Io Sky as Tegan Knox ended up tagging in. Tegan Knox went for the shiniest wizard on Io Sky, and Tegan Knox ended up going for the cover. Dakota Kai broke up the pin. So Liv Morgan ended up throwing Dakota Kai on the ring apron, and Liv delivered a sunset flip powerbomb as she slammed Dakota Kai on the outside. So Io Sky ended up hitting Liv Morgan with a drop kick on the outside. Io got back into the ring, and Tegan Knox delivered a kick to Io's face. Tegan Knox ran the ropes. Io Sky ended up hitting her with a right hand, and Tegan Knox ended up falling to the outside. So Io Sky ended up going to jump on the second rope. Tegan Knox ended up knocking her down. So the referee was distracted by Io Sky as Bayley ended up grabbing Tegan Knox. But Tegan Knox ended up throwing Bayley over the barricade. And so then we saw someone in a black hoodie came and attacked Tegan Knox on the outside. And security came over, took that person away, which that person was revealed to be Xia Li. So Xia Li was the one who was in the black hoodie and attacked Tegan Knox. So Io ended up getting Tegan Knox in the ring, ended up hitting her with a moonsault. So Io ended up going for the cover, and there you go. Dakota Kai and Io Sky end up winning the match, retaining the Women's Tag Team Championship. Overall, this match was okay. Was it great? No. So looks like maybe we're going to get Tegan Knox versus Xia Li after this. So overall, it was an okay match. And then we saw Ricochet. Ricochet cut a promo talking about how he will win the Intercontinental Championship against Gunther later on. Sorry, Ricochet, you're not winning the Intercontinental Championship. So Sami Zayn and the Usos were backstage. Sami Zayn ended up asking Jimmy and Jay how he looks. And the Usos ended up telling Sami that he looks good. Sami Zayn was questioning where Solo Sikoa was. So Jimmy ended up telling Sami Zayn that Solo Sikoa is with the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, and that both of them were on their way to the arena. Sami Zayn ended up saying that he needs to get some water. So Sami Zayn left the room. Jay ended up telling Jimmy that it's a big night, as Roman will take away Sami Zayn's honorary Uce and make him a full Uce. Jimmy ended up telling him that he doesn't think Roman will do it, and if he spoke with Roman. Jay ended up saying that he didn't speak to Roman, but Roman will do it. Jimmy ended up saying that he thinks they are setting Sami Zayn up for a big disappointment. So Jay ended up telling him tonight will be a big night. So from the looks of this was like, is the bloodline going to be turning on Sami Zayn? And I'm like, are they going to do this early? But that was that. And then we saw a clip from Smackdown last week where LA Knight called out Bray Wyatt. LA Knight ended up in the locker room. The lights ended up going off on him. And Bray Wyatt was right in front of LA Knight. So it cut back to Michael Cole saying that they received a QR code, which is a video of what happened last week. And we saw LA Knight. He was tied up, wearing a mask, and Bray Wyatt's voice was playing. So Bray ended up laughing. He removed a mask which was on LA Knight. He removed the mask, and LA Knight had his mouth all taped up. So that was the video of what happened last week. LA Knight was walking backstage. He was looking around for Bray Wyatt. And then as SmackDown came back from the commercial, LA Knight was in the ring. He ended up getting on the mic. He ended up saying for the past few weeks, he has been blindsided, abducted, and tied up. And that he is still knocking on Bray Wyatt's door. He ended up telling that Bray Wyatt is a former WWE champion and one of the biggest WWE superstars of all time. He ended up saying that his recent return is one of the most talked about returns ever. So LA Knight ended up saying all Bray Wyatt has done is dress like a circus freak, cry, and set a lot of things. And he has taken advantage of blindsiding and attacking him. He ended up saying that it wasn't himself. It was Howdy. It was Uncle Howdy. LA Knight ended up saying that he knows it was him and that he heard him. He ended up telling Bray Wyatt to put on any mask he needs to, any costume he needs to, call himself what he needs to, come out and get stomped out. So lights went out in the arena, and out came Bray Wyatt to a good pop from the crowd there in Chicago. He was laughing. Bray Wyatt was laughing. So Bray Wyatt ended up telling Chicago that he has missed them. He ended up saying, but LA Knight, he is sick of him. He is sick of this entire game they keep playing. Bray Wyatt ended up telling LA Knight that he knows he doesn't believe him, and he understands why. He ended up saying that LA Knight is barking up the wrong tree. He ended up saying that he hasn't touched him, and deep down, they both know how this story ends. Bray Wyatt then got on the ring apron. He ended up saying they both know how it ends, and that he will give LA Knight one last chance to deliver his message and make it worth his while. So as Bray was getting into the ring, LA Knight came over, ended up hitting him with some right hands, and LA Knight started stomping away on Bray Wyatt in the corner. And then on the Titantron, a video package was playing, and Uncle Howdy was on the Titantron in that video package. He was asking him what he has done. He ended up asking LA Knight if he wants to see something really scary. So LA Knight continued to stomp away on Bray Wyatt. Music was playing, and smoke ended up filling the entranceway, and out came Uncle Howdy. Uncle Howdy came out with the makeup and the top hat. So LA Knight backed away. Uncle Howdy was just heard laughing. Uncle Howdy's laugh ended up filling the arena. LA Knight left the ring with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy laughing. So pretty much that was basically that. So we had the reveal of Uncle Howdy as he made his way out. And this proves that Uncle Howdy is not Bray Wyatt. But I really like this segment here. Further progresses LA Knight and Bray Wyatt's feud, which they're going to have their match at the Royal Rumble, which that is what's being built up to have an LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt at the Royal Rumble. So, but really liked this. And then we saw the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and Solo Sikoa. They walked into the arena. Roman ended up asking Paul Heyman, where to? Paul Heyman ended up pointing, and all three guys walked in the hallway. And so pretty much that was that. And then we had Gunther versus Ricochet. Intercontinental Championship on the line. And this was the best match of the night, in my opinion. This was a very good match. So Ricochet ended up coming out first. And then Gunther came out. Gunther was accompanied by Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser. So we had Gunther, Ricochet, and Vinci and Kaiser. They were all in the ring. Adam Pearce was also in there. So before the match got underway, Adam Pearce ejected Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci away from ringside. So that was a smart move there. Just have Ricochet and Gunther go at it one-on-one without any interference from Kaiser and Vinci. So the match got underway. Ricochet delivered some kicks onto Gunther's left leg. So we had Gunther end up delivering a hip toss to Ricochet. Gunther grabbed Ricochet, but Ricochet ended up getting away. Gunther ended up grabbing Ricochet by the legs, threw him around the ring. Gunther ended up going for a chop, but Ricochet moved out of the way. Ricochet did a headlock takedown on Gunther, which he followed up with a kick to the side of Gunther's head. Ricochet delivered a drop kick in the corner to Gunther. He was delivering some right hands. Gunther came back, ended up throwing Ricochet onto the ring apron. So Gunther ended up laying out Ricochet with a big boot, to which Ricochet ended up falling to the outside. Gunther ended up going to the outside. He lifted Ricochet up, and he ended up throwing Ricochet on the ring apron. And then Gunther delivered a huge chop to Ricochet's chest. And then as SmackDown came back from the commercial, Gunther was in control of the match, just delivered some more chops to Ricochet's chest. So Gunther ended up slamming Ricochet into the corner. So Gunther ended up delivering a kick to Ricochet's back. And then he slammed Ricochet with a body slam. Gunther ended up blocking the Boston Crab. Ricochet then came back, delivered some kicks onto Gunther, and he ended up getting out of it. Ricochet delivered some more kicks onto Gunther, but Gunther ended up lifting Ricochet up, ended up hitting him with a backbreaker. Gunther went for the cover. Ricochet ended up kicking out. So Gunther locked in once again the Boston Crab, and he turned Ricochet into a crossface, but Ricochet ended up making it to the ropes. Gunther then ended up grabbing Ricochet, but Ricochet came back and started delivering some right hands to Gunther. So Gunther, once again, laid out a big chop to Ricochet. Gunther ended up locking in a sleeper hold, but Ricochet ended up rolling out of it. Gunther delivers some right hands, and once again a sleeper onto Ricochet in the middle of the ring. Ricochet then delivers some kicks onto Gunther as he tried to lift him up, but Gunther landed on his feet, and he ended up hitting Ricochet once again with another chop. Ricochet's chest was just beet red from all the chops from Gunther. So Gunther ended up going for the cover. Ricochet kicked out. So we had later on, we had Ricochet end up grabbing Gunther. Gunther delivered another chop to Ricochet. He lifted Ricochet up. Ricochet landed on the ring apron. Ricochet ended up going up to the top, and he ended up hitting Gunther with a moonsault, which was great. Good spot there from Ricochet. So then as SmackDown came back from the commercial, Ricochet was in control. He landed a shooting star press onto Gunther. He ended up going for the cover. Gunther kicked out. Ricochet delivered some right hands on Gunther and some chops as well. So Ricochet started delivering some kicks to Gunther and another chop to Gunther's chest. Ricochet then ended up running towards Gunther, but Gunther delivered another chop to Ricochet. Gunther then lifted Ricochet up and powerbombed him. So Gunther ended up going for the cover, but Ricochet ended up kicking out, which Gunther was getting very frustrated at this point. So Gunther ended up lifting Ricochet up, ended up hitting him with the Last Symphony, and he ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Gunther ended up winning the match, retaining the Intercontinental Championship. Post-match, Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci ended up coming down to the ring, and they celebrated with Gunther. Kaiser and Vinci ended up grabbing Ricochet after the match. And then out came Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman came out to chase off Imperium. So pretty much that was basically that. But overall, very good match this was with Gunther and Ricochet. Just, great wrestling from both of these guys. And Gunther is just being booked very good. Triple H is booking Gunther, very well. But overall, very good match this was. This was the best match of the night, in my opinion. This match came into play because Ricochet won the SmackDown World Cup. Obviously, I knew that Ricochet wasn't going to win the Intercontinental Championship. So he just won the SmackDown World Cup to take a loss to Gunther. So then we saw Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was sitting in his office with Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa. In came Jimmy Uso, who ended up asking Roman what he was going to do tonight. And the Tribal Chief didn't answer Jimmy. Jimmy ended up asking the Tribal Chief, Roman, if he is going to make Sami Zayn in Uso. Jimmy ended up saying that he loves their family, the bloodline, them. He ended up saying, but if he doesn't want to induct Sami Zayn because of his history with Kevin Owens. So Roman looked at Jimmy, and Roman didn't answer him. Jimmy ended up saying that he will see him out there tonight. So Jimmy left the room. Roman ended up telling Paul Heyman that he wants to talk to Adam Pearce. So pretty much that was basically that. Roman not even answering Jimmy Uso on if they're going to make Sami Zayn in Uso. So then, as SmackDown came back from the commercial, Adam Pearce ended up coming in. Roman told Adam Pearce to have a seat. Roman ended up calling Paul Heyman wise man. Paul Heyman then started to talk. Paul Heyman ended up telling Adam Pearce that the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, will bless him. So Paul Heyman was like, imagine this. Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens and any partner of his choice. Paul Heyman ended up telling Adam Pearce that if he likes this, Pearce could even be the partner. So Pearce ended up saying that they can do it tonight. To which Roman and Paul Heyman started to laugh. Adam Pearce ended up saying that he gets it, but he asks if it would be at the Royal Rumble. Paul Heyman ended up telling Roman, but if he were to do it live on network TV on Fox, December 30th, in Tampa, Florida. Roman ended up saying that sounds a lot better than Chicago. Paul Heyman then congratulates Adam Pearce on the biggest tag team match of 2022, live on Fox. So Sikoa then got in Adam Pearce's face as Adam Pearce ended up standing up. He ended up saying that he will let Kevin Owens know. So pretty much that was basically that. So that match is taking place on the final Smackdown of the year on December 30th in Tampa on Fox, of course. And then we had Hit Row versus the Viking Raiders versus Legado del Fantasma. And this was a decent 8-man tag. We had Legado del Fantasma end up coming out first. And then the Viking Raiders, accompanied by Sarah Logan. Of course, she's Eric's wife. And they renamed Sarah Logan. Her new name is now Valhalla. Why? I don't know. It is kind of pointless just to give Sarah Logan a name change for no reason. What a stupid name, Valhalla. Does Sarah Logan really need a name change? And then we had Hit Row end up coming out. We had Ashante Adonis, Top Dollar, and B-Fab. So the match got underway. We had Wild Ivar and Ashante Adonis. They were all in the ring. Ivar delivered a kick onto Wild. Wild went to the outside. So Ashante ended up delivering a drop kick onto Ivar. Ivar went out to the ring. Eric then ended up throwing Ashante to the outside. Top Dollar then got into the ring. He clotheslined Eric to the outside. So Legado del Fantasma delivered a drop kick off the top rope. You know, always enjoy Legado del Fantasma. So then, as SmackDown came back from the commercial, Top Dollar of Hit Row was in control of the match. He delivered a shoulder tackle onto Eric and Del Toro. And Ivar ended up tagging in. Eric and Ivar ended up double teaming on Top Dollar. And then in came Legado del Fantasma. And the Viking Raiders ended up knocking them both down. Later on in the match, the women ended up getting involved, whereas Lena Vega ended up hitting Ashante with a Hurricanrana. B-Fab ended up hitting Zelina with a right hand. Valhalla, Sarah Logan, ended up delivering a right hand onto B-Fab. So that led to B-Fab and Valhalla fighting on the outside. Zelina Vega ended up delivering a moonsault onto both Valhalla and B-Fab. Wild ended up run towards Top Dollar. Top Dollar caught Wild, and Ashante and Top Dollar ended up hitting Wild with the heavy hitter. So Top Dollar ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Hit Row ended up winning the match. Overall, this was a decent 8-man tag. And then we saw Kayla Braxton. Kayla Braxton was backstage with Raquel Rodriguez, and Raquel had ice on her elbow. Kayla ended up asking Raquel if she will be in the gauntlet match next week, where the winner will become the number one contender for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Of course, we got to have a gauntlet match because, WWE probably got nothing else booked for the show next week. So let's just do a good old-fashioned gauntlet match because we got nothing else to put on the show. So Raquel ended up saying to Kayla Braxton that the doctor recommends caution, but for her, this is personal. Raquel ended up saying that when she goes to straighten her arm, she remembers what Shayna Baszler and Ronda did to her. She ended up saying last week they both hurt her friend Shotzi. So Raquel ended up saying that she will be in the gauntlet match next week. So in came Shayna Baszler. Shayna ended up hitting Raquel with a right hand. Ronda was there. Ronda ended up grabbing Raquel by the arm as Shayna ended up kicking Raquel's arm. And pretty much that was basically that. Do I care about this women's gauntlet match next week? No. It's just another way of WWE saying, oh, we got nothing else booked for the show. Let's just do a gauntlet match. Absolutely lazy. And then we saw Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, the Usos, Sikoa, and Sami Zayn, the Bloodline. They end up making their way down to the ring. Roman got on the mic, and he told Chicago to acknowledge him. He ended up saying that he hasn't seen the Bloodline since War Games, since Survivor Series War Games, and that they dominated it. So Roman ended up shaking the Usos, Sikoa, and Sami Zayn's hands. He ended up saying tonight is the night, and that every night is a good night for the Tribal Chief. But tonight was going to be a good night for Sami Zayn. He ended up saying that they have a problem. They have a Kevin Owens problem. Roman ended up telling Sami Zayn that Kevin Owens is a problem because he won't leave him alone. He ended up saying that if Kevin Owens is a problem for Sami Zayn, he is a problem for Roman. And he is a problem for the Bloodline. So Roman ended up saying that he has a solution. He ended up telling Sami Zayn that they're going to team up and have a tag team match against Kevin Owens. And that they were going to get rid of Kevin Owens and never see him again. Sami Zayn ended up telling Roman that he is absolutely right. And that after all of this time, Kevin Owens keeps trying to bring him down. He ended up telling everyone that he is Kevin's only friend. He ended up telling them that he misspoke. He was his friend. He ended up saying that it would be a privilege to be his partner. So then John Cena showed up on the Titantron. John Cena ended up telling the Bloodline, surprise! John Cena ended up saying that he was surprised when he got a text message from Kevin Owens. Cena then took out his cell phone and he read the message. Cena ended up saying that Kevin Owens texted him saying that he has had a match every year in the company for the last 20 years, except this one. So John Cena ended up saying that Kevin Owens asked Cena if he wants to be his tag team partner on Smackdown on December 30th in Tampa. Cena ended up saying that he has not had a match this year and that they are running out of chances. So he ended up saying that he will team up with Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn. So John Cena will be Kevin Owens' tag team partner. So Roman then left in the ring as Cena's music ended up hitting. And that was pretty much how SmackDown went off the air tonight. Overall, really like this. Really glad that John Cena is going to be Kevin Owens' tag team partner. And we're going to get John Cena and Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn on the final SmackDown of the year on December 30th. So, should be a very entertaining match. So, but SmackDown, very good show tonight. Very enjoyable show. This show is a lot better than Monday Night Raw. You could tell the difference, from SmackDown and Monday Night Raw. Watching SmackDown is easy to digest than Monday Night Raw. Moving on to AEW Rampage, which Rampage, this show tonight, it was really meh, in my opinion. Nothing important happened on Rampage tonight. Yeah, Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Skye Blue. Wardlow took on Exodus Prime. And in the main event, it was an 8-man tag, which was the Best Friends, Orange Cassidy and Dustin Rhodes. They ended up taking on Kip Sabian, Trent Seven, and the Butcher and the Blade. So just a very meh Rampage it was tonight. I'm going to go through this quickly. So Rampage opened up tonight with Jon Moxley versus Sammy Guevara, which I thought was a very good match here. Guevara ended up hitting Moxley with a leaping knee strike. Guevara then ended up hitting Moxley with some chops. Moxley reversed it, ended up chopping Guevara, and then nailed him with a lariat. So both guys end up going to the outside. Guevara ended up hitting Moxley with a knee strike. Moxley came back, ended up dropping Guevara on the guardrail. Guevara then ended up tossing Moxley in the ring. Moxley ended up hitting Guevara with the cutter. Moxley then picked up Guevara and had Guevara on the ropes. He ended up dropping Guevara with a superplex, and he ended up going for the cover, and Guevara ended up kicking out. Moxley ended up trying to chop Guevara, but Guevara ended up coming back, ended up hitting Moxley with some chops. Guevara ended up taking down Moxley with a corkscrew dropkick, as the fans ended up booing loudly at Guevara. Guevara and Moxley were on the top rope, and both men ended up scrapping each other's backs. Guevara ended up stopping on Moxley as he ended up going down to the outside. And then as Rampage came back from the commercial, both Guevara and Moxley were in the ring. And during the picture-in-picture, Guevara ended up tearing off Moxley's earring off his ear, and Moxley was bleeding. So Guevara ended up putting Moxley's earring in his mouth. He was chewing on the earring, and then he tossed the earring into the crowd. Guevara was biting Moxley's ear, and Guevara had Moxley's blood on his tongue. And with that situation, Moxley could have, lost a little bit of his ear. It could have been, a little bit like a Mick Foley situation where Mick Foley ended up losing his ear. We all know about, Mick Foley, his ear back in the day. So it was almost like that situation there with Moxley here. Moxley almost lost his ear. So Guevara continued his offense on Moxley, started delivering some blows to Moxley's head. Guevara had Moxley against the ropes and had his fingers in Moxley's eyes. So Moxley ended up diving to the outside, ended up taking Guevara and Ty Mello out as Guevara and Ty Mello were kissing on the outside. Cringe. So we had Moxley ended up tossing Guevara back to the ring. He nailed Guevara with some right hands in the corner. So Guevara then ended up putting Moxley in the walls of Jericho, to which Moxley refused to tap out. And he turned over and kicked Guevara in the face to break the walls of Jericho. So Guevara and Moxley were exchanging blows. Guevara ended up going down, and Moxley started stomping on Guevara, and he ended up going for the cover. Guevara ended up kicking out. So we had Guevara end up hitting Moxley with a huge knee strike to Moxley's bloody ear. Guevara ended up going up to the top rope, and he nailed Moxley with a huge dive. And he ended up landing on Moxley, who Moxley was on a table. So Moxley was back in the ring. Guevara attempted a high crossbody off the ropes. Moxley countered with a stomp and a pile driver to Guevara. Moxley then locked in the Bulldog choke on Guevara. Guevara ended up countering, but Moxley ended up coming back, ended up hitting Guevara with the lariat. Guevara ended up coming back with a death ride. He then ended up hitting a senton from the top rope onto Moxley. So Guevara ended up going for the cover. Moxley kicked out. So Guevara then ended up hitting Moxley with a Spanish fly, which was great. Moxley came back, ended up putting Guevara in a chokehold. And there you go. Jon Moxley ended up winning the match. Post-match, Moxley got on the mic and he called out Hangman Adam Page. So Hangman and Page end up coming out, and we got a brawl from Moxley and Page on the outside. Of course, officials end up trying to pull Page off the apron. Page got on the apron and end up hitting a big buckshot lariat to one of the security guys. And pretty much that was basically that. But overall, this was a very good match between Moxley and Sammy Guevara. And the crowd was hot during this match. And I thought the brawl between Moxley and Page was good. And this is leading up to a match between the both of them, where it takes place on a Dynamite, on a random edition of on Dynamite, or maybe, they build us up towards Revolution in March. So we'll have to see. So then as Rampage came back from the commercial, we saw FTR in the ring. Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler. They were all bandaged up, taped up from their awesome double dog collar match last week at Ring of Honor Final Battle, where they ended up taking on the Briscoes, which really enjoyed that match. It was a very good, awesome match. In my opinion, match of the year. And if you guys haven't checked out that match, would highly, highly recommend it. Just awesome match it was. So FTR ended up saying that this is the best year of their careers. They ended up saying that the Guns, Austin and Colton, ruined their night at Final Battle last Saturday. Cash Wheeler ended up saying that the last week has been hard because they feel they let the fans down after the fans did so much to support them. Cash ended up saying that he hoped that the fans know how proud they are. He ended up saying that he called out the Gun Club and said that if someone was going to take them out, it sure as hell won't be them. So Dax Harwood ended up saying that his daughter told him that the fans like him. Dax ended up saying that since he was 8 years old, this is all he wanted to do. So they ended up saying that win, lose, or draw, they wanted to make the fans feel great. So Dax ended up saying that they were going to whip the Guns on Dynamite. And that was basically that, but very good promo from FTR. They're going to get their hands on Austin and Colton on Dynamite. And of course, FTR are so over with the fans. They're the top guys. A very good promo from Harwood and Wheeler. And then we had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Skye Blue. This was awful. This was terrible. Britt Baker was accompanied by, of course, Jamie Hayter, the AEW Women's World Champion, and Rebel. So we had Skye Blue had Britt Baker in the armbar. Baker counted, ended up putting Skye Blue in a head scissor lock. And she ended up picking up Skye Blue for a double underarm hook. And she ended up slamming Skye Blue down. Skye Blue ended up coming back with an arm drag takedown. So pretty much Britt Baker ended up taking Skye Blue down, ended up hitting a stomp. And Britt Baker ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Britt Baker ended up winning the match. Post-match, Britt Baker ended up putting Skye Blue in the lockjaw. And then a Carl Sheeta's music ended up hitting. A Carl Sheeta came out with a kendo stick in hand. She had taken Rebel out with the kendo stick. So Carl Sheeta ended up getting in the ring, nailed Britt Baker with the kendo stick. So Carl Sheeta was drawn at Jamie Hayter. And pretty much that was basically that. So it's going to be Hikaru Shida versus Jamie Hayter for the AEW Women's World Championship. If Hikaru Shida could pick up her second win as the AEW Women's World Champion, she'll be a two-time AEW Women's World Champion if she defeats Jamie Hayter. But overall, terrible match with Britt Baker and Skye Blue. Obviously, we all knew that Britt Baker was going to win it. Skye Blue, jobber. And then we went backstage and we saw an interview with Jim Ross and Preston Vance. about Preston Vance turn on the Dark Order. And he ended up saying, what happened to -1 with the loss of his father, Brody Lee? And he ended up saying that -1 became a spoiled brat, and it's time for him to grow up. Preston Vance ended up saying that his family is Roosh and Drilistico and Jose the assistant. So pretty much that was that with Preston Vance. And then we had Wardlow versus Exodus Prime squash match. Wardlow ended up winning. So post-match, Wardlow ended up saying that he has waited too long for a rematch, and that he is not waiting another second. So Wardlow called out Samoa Joe. So Samoa Joe ended up appearing backstage on the screen. Samoa Joe ended up saying that he will not defend his titles, and hopes that he never defends his title in the awful state of Texas. Samoa Joe ended up telling Wardlow that he will grant Wardlow a title match at Holiday Bash on December 28th. So there you go. It's going to be Wardlow versus Samoa Joe, TNT Championship at Holiday Bash, on that Dynamite. So there you go. They're just continuing to build, Wardlow up, these squash matches. So then as Rampage came back from the commercial, Mark Henry was talking to the competitors in the main event. Orange Cassidy, the best friends, Dustin Rhodes, Kip Sabian, Trent Seven, the Butcher on the Blade. Kip Sabian ended up saying that Trent Seven embraced the change and can't climb the ladder of success with your hands in your pockets. So the Butcher ended up calling the best friends the best crumbs, which that gave me a chuckle. So the best friends end up asking Mark Henry if they get to say anything. So pretty much that was basically that. And then we had the main event, 8-man tag, Orange Cassidy, Dustin Rhodes, and the best friends versus Kip Sabian, Trent Seven, Butch and the Blade. It was an okay 8-man tag. We had Orange Cassidy and Kip Sabian in the ring. Sabian rolled out of the ring. Orange Cassidy ended up going after him. So Trent Beretta ended up taking out the Butcher. The Blade ended up coming in, nailed Beretta from behind. And as Rampage came back from the commercial, Orange Cassidy tagged in Dustin Rhodes. Dustin ended up power slamming Trent Seven. And then he took out the Butcher and the Blade. And then he took out Trent Seven with some power slams. Dustin ended up nailing Trent Seven with a big elbow. He ended up going for the cover. And Trent Seven ended up kicking out. So Trent Beretta ended up nailing the Butcher and the Blade with a double missile drop kick. Beretta then ended up taking out, Trent Seven, Kip Sabian, Butcher and the Blade on the outside. So we had the Bunny end up entering the ring. Orange Cassidy ended up dropping down, looking like that the Bunny ended up kicking him, and the ref's back was turned. And so Danhausen acted the same way, because Penelope Ford got into the ring, and Danhausen ended up going down thinking that Penelope Ford ended up taking him out. So we had the referee end up ejecting both the Bunny and Penelope Ford. So Danhausen was then low blowed. So Trent Seven was on the top rope. He ended up dropping on Trent Beretta, ended up going for the cover. Beretta ended up kicking out. So at the end of the match, we had Orange Cassidy end up hitting Trent Seven with the Orange Punch, which was followed by a Bulldog by Dustin Rhodes. He ended up going for the cover on Trent Seven. And there you go. Orange Cassidy, Dustin Rhodes, and the best friends ended up winning the match. But overall, the match was okay. So that was AEW Rampage tonight. Overall, just very meh show, in my opinion. But Sammy Guevara versus Jon Moxley, was a very good match. The crowd was hot for that. The FTR promo was very good. Everything else, just, in my opinion. But anyways, that's it for the Smackdown and AEW Rampage review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all later.